Going after a presidential political opponent has consequences, says former President Donald Trump. And now, he says, the gloves will come off. The seal for going after your political opposition as the U.S. president is broken, Trump vowed Monday as he heads to Miami for a Tuesday court appearance on an unprecedented federal indictment of a former commander-in-chief. Trump wrote in a Truth Social post, "Now that the seal is broken, in addition to closing the border and removing all of the criminal elements that have illegally invaded our country, making America energy independent, and even dominant again, and immediately ending the war between Russia and Ukraine, I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the USA, Joe Biden, the entire Biden crime family, and all others involved with the destruction of our elections, borders, and country itself." Trump defenders have been hailing his administration for not going to the level of prosecuting his political opponents, despite some suggestions otherwise, with both former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton and then 2020 presidential candidate Biden. Trump's former personal attorney Rudy Giuliani had found allegations of bribes with Ukraine as House Democrats sought myriad impeachment actions against then-President Trump. Giuliani denounced special counsel Jack Smith's claim in a brief and harried news conference Friday, announcing the first-ever indictment of a former president, saying, "There's one system of laws, and that applies equally to everyone." Well, of course, that's the most ridiculous, idiotic statement to make on a day in which we find out that the Bidens took a $10 million bribe from a Ukrainian Mykola Zlochevsky, which I could have told you, and did tell, the DOJ, 3 years ago, Giuliani told Newsmax's Saturday Report. And they followed up on none of the evidence I gave them. They were hoping that people would disappear or die. It's extraordinary. Giuliani added the Pittsburgh Attorney General was looking into the case before it was taken away from him by then Attorney General Bill Barr, who gave it to the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, who didn't do a thing about it.
Yeah, like in other newscasts, I told you, Biden, his son, Hillary, Obama, they're all going to get it. It's just a matter of time now. They're all going to be fried. Let's go to the next one here. This from Newsmax. Senator Grassley says FBI doc claims 17 Biden bribe recordings.
Iowa GOP Senator Charles Grassley, a senior member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, said on Monday that the controversial FD 1023 FBI document sought by Congress regarding a potential multi-million bribery scheme between President Joe Biden, his son Hunter, and a foreign national, claims there are 17 audio recordings confirming the plan. The FD 1023 document, produced to the House Judiciary Committee, redacted reference that the foreign national who allegedly bribed then Vice President Joe and Hunter Biden allegedly has audio recordings of his conversations with them, 17 such recordings, Grassley said during a speech on the Senate floor Monday. According to the document, the foreign national possesses 15 audio recordings of the phone calls between him and Hunter Biden. According to the FD 1023, the foreign national possesses 2 audio recordings of phone calls between him and then Vice President Joe Biden. Grassley said that the foreign national made the recordings as a sort of insurance policy if he found himself in a tight spot. The senator also said the form refers to then Vice President Joe Biden personally helping get his son, Hunter, the job on the Ukrainian energy company's board of directors, for which he was paid tens of thousands of dollars each month. Based on the facts known to the Congress and the public, it's clear that the Justice Department and the FBI haven't had nearly the same laser focus on the Biden family. Special counsel Jack Smith has used a recording against former President Donald Trump, Grassley said. What is U.S. Attorney David Weiss doing with respect to these alleged Joe and Hunter Biden recordings that are apparently relevant to the high-stakes bribery scheme? NBC News reported June 8 that GOP members of the House Oversight Committee emerged from seeing the document, saying that it proves a pattern of activity by Biden and his family to secure bribes and influence peddling during his time as vice president. Ranking member Jamie Raskin, Democrat Maryland, said, however, that there was nothing in the document that caused it to be escalated to a formal investigation. White House Oversight spokesman Ian Sams told the news outlet that committee members have spent 6 months wasting taxpayer resources to stage politically motivated stunts disguised as investigations. FBI Director Christopher Wray finally allowed members of Congress to review the document in a secured area after the committee threatened him with contempt of Congress proceedings.
And that's all I got on that one there. We will find out. Let's go to the next one here. Now, I saw on YouTube today about, California is going to start taxing people for leaving their state and then tax them 10 years later. So I done some research and found this on it. California exit tax and wealth tax. What is it and how it applies to you?
California is known for having some of the most significant in-state taxes in the country with a 13.3% annual income tax rate. However, did you know that you might still be taxed even after you leave the state? Yep. Thanks to the California exit tax legislation, depending on how much money you get from in-state activities, such as investments in real estate or business operations, you could still be treated like a Californian on your next tax return. Join us as we walk you through the California wealth and exit tax questions, such as, what is the exit tax in California, how much it is, who it applies to, and a deeper dive into the CA wealth tax proposal and the Assembly Bill 2088. So, what is the California exit tax? The California exit tax explained. The California exit tax is a one-time tax that must be paid by businesses and individuals who relocate outside of California. The tax is based on the value of the business or individual's assets, including property, stocks, and other investments. It forms part of the larger California wealth tax, whereby the state imposes a tax based on its residents' wealth. Those who have lived in the state at any point in time in the past and who earn an annual income greater than $30 million are affected by the wealth tax and would have to pay an annual tax on their wealth for as long as 10 years after they have left the state. How much is the California exit tax? The amount of the California exit tax is 0.4% of an individual's net worth over $30 million in a tax year, no matter where it's located, within CA, other states within the US, or overseas. This amount is halved to $15 million if a married taxpayer files a separate return to their spouse. The one caveat is that there is no California exit tax on real estate, but if the real estate is within state lines, it would still be taxed under California Revenue and Tax Code Section 17591. Who has to pay California exit tax? The exit tax applies to both businesses and individuals who leave California. This includes businesses that move their operations out of state as well as individuals who relocate to another state. It should be noted that the exit tax only applies if you're moving to another state, not within California. Why was the California exit tax of 2020 created? The exit tax is intended to recoup some of the money that California has invested in these businesses and individuals. For example, if a business owner has received tax breaks or other financial incentives from the state, the exit tax ensures that they will still contribute some money to California's economy even after they leave. The primary reason for the enactment of the exit tax was to close a loophole that allowed people to avoid paying taxes on their capital gains. Under federal law, capital gains are only taxed when they are realized. This means that if someone buys a stock for $1,000 and it goes up to $10,000, they don't have to pay taxes on that $9,000 until they sell the stock.
Okay, then there's more to read on this if you want to read the rest of it, but it seems like this is illegal to me. I'm glad I don't live in California. Never been there. Will not never go there. California, they got a lot of companies leaving because of crime. You can go in their store and just pick what you want. You don't need no money. You just if you get caught, you just get a slap on the wrist. California is going cuckoo. Well, they've always been cuckoo, but anyway, sorry if you live in California. Anyway, let me go to the next one. This from the Cool Down. Homesteader shares creative money-saving hack for making raised garden beds. The garden is complete now.
A viral TikTok is showing people how to prepare raised garden beds in the most creative, money-saving way imaginable. The practical tips come from an urban homesteader named Kate at Modhipiabits. As a modern-day homesteader, Kate is helping to represent a movement that emphasizes zero-waste living. And if you're looking for how to waste as little as possible on your raised flower bed, then she has tips for you. The scoop. In the video, Kate shows us that we don't need as much soil as we think.
Yeah, I'm going to stop it right here. I'm going to play this video here.
But they can get expensive if you're filling the entire thing up with soil, and you don't need all of that soil anyway. So let's go ahead and take this 17-inch Figo garden bed and fill it up. I started out by making a biodegradable weed barrier with recycled cardboard, and then I fill it almost all the way up with sticks. There's about 8 inches left on top, and then a layer of leaves so not all of the soil sinks under. All of that natural material will eventually biodegrade, and then I just filled the top about 8 inches up with a mix of potting gardening soil, compost, and topsoil. Always water that soil in before you start to plant to see if it will settle.
Nico! Excuse me? You're very cute, but that was supposed to be a photo, not a puppy goes in the new garden bed. Oh my gosh, you're so cute.
Anyway, she starts by lining her 17-inch Vigo garden bed with recyclable cardboard as a weed barrier. Next, she fits it almost all the way topped with sticks, and she later tops it with a layer of leaves, so not all the soil sinks under. Anyway, I done something like that with my bed, but instead of this metal ring here, because that's cost a lot of money, I bought plastic barrels, food grade barrels, for like $10 a piece. Cut them in half, and I didn't put cardboard at the bottom to think about that, but I put sticks and leaves in it before I put the dirt in it. And let's go to the next one here. This one here from the New Voice. Russian troops accidentally filmed themselves blowing up while joyriding through Ukraine field.
While clearly enjoying the ride, the ending likely wasn't so happy after the crew drove over a landmine. The footage shows about a dozen Russians pathetically posing with their imperial flag sitting on their MTLB armored fighting vehicle. As the undisciplined soldiers hoot and holler, a large blast occurs suddenly, interrupting the video. The Darwin Awards honor those who tip chlorine into our gene pool by accidentally removing their own DNA from it during the spectacular climax of a great idea gone very, very wrong, the site's website explains. The fate of the soldiers in the video and camera operator is currently unknown.
And that's all it says on that one there. There's no video I can see. So they're goofing off, taking photos while they're driving through Ukraine, and blew himself up. Anyway, let me go on to the next one. This is from the Cool Down. Gardener shares bizarre effective hack for keeping squirrels and birds out of your yard. I swear it works.
Who doesn't love a good gardening hack? And if it can keep the pests away, like one recent TikTok video suggests, then it's even better. The scoop. The video, shared by How Does She, at Howdoish, shows a garden dotted with rows and rows of forks sticking out of the ground. That's right, forks. Weird hack, but I swear it works, the TikToker writes in the caption. The TikToker goes on to write in the video, it will save your garden. Might look a little crazy. But
okay, that's all I'm gonna play on that one there. How's it helping? What's everyone saying? I don't know about that myself. I'll play the video. I won't play the sound though. Before it's around the baby plant, the ceiling. Keep the squirrels away. It might work. I don't know. I tried. I got squirrels around my garden, and I tried to put a habanero pepper seeds all through the garden. I still saw them running out of the barrel. I don't know if they got bit into it or not. I don't think it worked that well. Let me go to my next one here. Okay, this is from Business Insider. Russia put out a video claiming its forces captured prized German-made Leopard tanks and U.S. fighting vehicles in Ukraine.
Russia released a video claiming it captured German-made Leopard tanks and U.S. fighting vehicles. The Russian Ministry of Defense claimed the assets were captured in the Zaporizhia region. Ukraine has made gains in its counteroffensive, while Russia has launched smaller attacks, ISW said. Russia released a video on Tuesday claiming that its forces have captured German-made Leopard tanks and US-provided Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, armor assets sent by Western partners to fuel a Ukrainian counteroffensive. The video, shared on Twitter by OSI and Defender, showed 2 captured Leopard 2A6 tanks and a few M2A2 Bradleys. Russian troops filming the video claimed the tanks and vehicles were abandoned by Ukrainian forces after fierce fighting along the front of the Zaporizhia region, one of the areas where Ukrainian forces are pushing against Russian lines. The German-made Leopard tank is a capable third-generation main battle tank that was promised to Ukraine along with British Challenger tanks and American Abrams tanks and arrived in Ukraine in February and March. The American-made Bradleys, which were confirmed to be in Ukraine in April, are tracked armored vehicles that can carry infantry and provide mobile fire support for other forces. The video posted by OSINT Defender of what Russia claims are captured tanks and fighting vehicles was originally released by the Russian Defense Ministry on their official Telegram channel on Tuesday, Reuters said in a report on the footage and associated claims. The ministry referred to the assets as our trophies and said Ukrainian troops left the engines running when they abandoned the tanks and armored vehicles. Insider was unable to verify Russia's claims, nor was it able to independently verify when and where the video was filmed.
Okay, there's a couple more short paragraphs to read if you want to read it. I don't believe that myself. See what this video says here.
А вот он, фрисовский нахваленный Леопард. Ой, две техники работают. Это Брэдли. Ну вот. Не так уж и страшна эта техника. Мы будем отстаивать. Слава России! Победа будет за нами!
Well, I don't speak Russian, so I can't understand that, but they bleep them a lot. Let me go to the next one here. This one here from Fox News. Wildfires aren't getting worse because of climate change. The real culprit will surprise you.
More than 100 wildfires are sweeping their way across the Canadian provinces of Quebec and Ottawa, sending waves of smoke into major cities in the northeastern United States, including New York and Philadelphia. Predictably, the Biden administration and his alarmist allies in Congress are wasting no time in using the wildfires to call attention to climate change and for sweeping changes to the U.S. energy system. For example, on June 7, Biden tweeted, "We've deployed more than 600 U.S. firefighters, support personnel and equipment to support Canada as they respond to record wildfires, events that are intensifying because of the climate crisis." Also on June 7, Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat Massachusetts, tweeted, "Extreme weather. Drought. Massive wildfires that destroy our air quality. Evidence of a climate crisis is all around us and Northeasterners can look no further than out their own windows to find it." Continue reading. Sponsored content. More from Fox News. The Center for Biological Diversity, a left-leaning environmental group, acknowledges that the vast majority of western dry forests are at risk of large, high-intensity fire because of the effects of poor forest management over the past century. The primary factors that lead to current forest conditions include logging large trees, fire suppression, and livestock grazing. Since the beginning of the 20th century, all three of these factors have been present in western forests, and they continue to play a role today. And who, you might be wondering, is the biggest manager of U.S. forests? The very same federal government that is now blaming the problem of wildfires on climate change. 31% of all forest land in America is owned by federal agencies, about 238 million acres. And most of those forests are located west of the Mississippi River, where climates tend to be more arid and susceptible to wildfires. There is no evidence that the number or severity of wildfires like those currently raging in Canada are increasing because of climate change. It's pure propaganda designed to trick Americans into supporting additional Green New Deal-like policies and to deflect blame from the federal government, which is responsible for managing huge swaths of U.S. forests. Policymakers should be debating ways to improve forest management, not spending their time spewing fairy tales about global warming. Americans deserve better.
So you heard that? White House and Biden, they're doing propaganda about this wildfires. Don't even believe what Biden tells you, or the White House. They're just spreading lies. Let's go to the next one here. Here's from the Cool Down. Gardeners share a simple chemical-free hack for getting rid of weeds. You might have just changed the game for me. Thought this was interesting.
Whether you're growing beautiful flowers or delicious veggies, many commercial weed killers can damage your crop. To get rid of weeds in a safer and more natural way, here's what one TikToker recommends. The Scoop. In a trio of videos, TikToker Eastside Farming, at Eastside Farming, shows viewers what he calls the safest, most effective way to get rid of weeds, completely within 24 hours. In the first video, he explains, honestly, the best way, hands down, to rid your garden of anything you don't want that's growing is simply hot water.
Okay, and there's a little more to read on that if you want to read it. Let me play this video here.
A lot of people will use different chemicals. They say these chemicals are safe for use with your garden. It's still a chemical, right? Honestly, the best way, hands down, to rid your garden of anything you don't want that's growing is simply hot water. That's right, just hot water. Put boiling hot water on what you want to be gone, and in 24 hours, it will be gone. It don't affect your soil. It's not gonna mess with anything else as long as you're not putting it directly on the other plants that you're messing with. It's really that simple. Anybody could do it. You feel me?
Y'all feel me? Let me see here. What's this one here about?
What the heck?
Anyway, that's all I got on that one there. So he said pour hot water on it. Maybe for your driveway, I wouldn't do it in my vegetable garden. You might hit the plants by accident. Let's go to the next one. This is from the Associated Press. Cases of check fraud escalate dramatically, with Americans warned not to mail checks if possible, because they do check washing.
New York, AP, check fraud is back in a big way, fueled by a rise in organized crime that is forcing small businesses and individuals to take additional safety measures or to avoid sending checks through the mail altogether. Banks issued roughly 680,000 reports of check fraud to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, also known as FinCEN, last year. That's up from 350,000 reports in 2021. Meanwhile, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service reported roughly 300,000 complaints of mail theft in 2021, more than double the prior year's total. Early in the pandemic, government relief checks became an attractive target for criminals. The problem has only gotten worse, and postal authorities and bank officials are warning Americans to avoid mailing checks if possible, or at least to use a secure mail drop such as inside the post office. Meanwhile, as the cases of fraud increase, victims are waiting longer to recover their stolen money. Check usage has been in decline for decades as Americans have largely switched to paying for their services with credit and debit cards. Americans wrote roughly 3.4 billion checks in 2022, down from nearly 19 billion checks in 1990, according to the Federal Reserve. However, the average size of the checks Americans write rose from $673 in 1990, or $1,602 in today's dollars, to $2,652 last year. Despite the declining use of checks in the United States, criminals have been increasingly targeting the U.S. mail since the COVID-19 pandemic to commit check fraud, FinCEN wrote in an alert sent out in February. Checks are still frequently used by small businesses. Eric Fishgrund, who runs Fish Tank PR, a 30-person public relations firm in New York, had about 15 checks that were being mailed to him from clients stolen after they all went through the same Postal Service distribution center. 10 of them were successfully cashed by criminals. The checks were stolen in March, and Fishgrund became aware of the problem in April, when several of his clients who were never late missed payments. The Postal Service investigated, and Fishgrund has recovered about 70% of the revenue, but some of the cases haven't yet been resolved. According to the investigator on the case, the perpetrators used technology that melted ink in the field of the check so they could write in fake names. Fish Tank instructed all its clients to change their paper format because it was dealing with a check fraud issue. Fishgrund said he'd never previously had an issue with check fraud in the nearly 10 years he has run his own business. Now he has a clause in invoices and new client contracts that asks for electronic payments only. "I don't think we'll ever go back to asking for checks as an option," he said.
Yeah, and I know of I think about 3 months ago, something like that, over in St. Anne, Missouri. There's a post office right by the St. Anne Police Department over there, and they broke into their mailboxes at the post office. And there's a police station right there, which doesn't surprise me. I like to drive a taxi cab, and this one town, the police station was above the 7-Eleven store. And that 7-Eleven store got robbed a lot. Anyway, let me go to the next one now. This is from the Associated Press. UN nuclear chief says large Ukraine atomic power plant held by Russia faces dangerous situation.
KYIV, Ukraine, AP, the largest nuclear power plant in Europe faces a relatively dangerous situation after a dam burst in Ukraine and as Ukraine's military Kyiv launches a counteroffensive to retake ground occupied by Russia, the head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog said Tuesday. Rafael Mariano Grossi, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, spoke to journalists in Kyiv just before leaving on a trip to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. The plant has been in the crossfire repeatedly since Russia launched its war on Ukraine in February 2022 and seized the facility shortly after. Grossi said he met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to discuss the perils facing the nuclear plant, which grew more serious after the Kakhovka dam burst last week. The dam, further down the Dnieper River, helped keep water in a reservoir that cools the plant's reactors. Ukraine has said Russia blew up the dam, something denied by Moscow, though analysts say the flood likely disrupted Kyiv's counteroffensive plans. Grossi said the level of the reservoir that feeds the plant is dropping quite steadily, but that it didn't represent an immediate danger. It is a serious situation because you are limited to the water you have there, Grossi said. If there was a break in the gates that contain this water or anything like this, you would really lose all your cooling capacity. Ukraine recently said it hoped to put the last functioning reactor into a cold shutdown. That's a process in which all control rods are inserted into the reactor core to stop the nuclear fission reaction and generation of heat and pressure. Already, 5 of the plant's 6 reactors are in a cold shutdown.
Okay, and there's more to read on that if you want to read the rest of it. I'm going to go to the next one here. Okay, this one here is from the Associated Press. Pacific Corporation could be on the hook for billions after jury verdict in devastating Oregon wildfires.
Portland, Oregon, AP, a jury in Oregon on Monday found the electric utility PacifiCorp responsible for causing devastating fires during Labor Day weekend in 2020, ordering the company to pay tens of millions of dollars to 17 homeowners who sued and finding it liable for broader damages that could push the total award into the billions. The Portland utility is one of several owned by billionaire Warren Buffett's Omaha, Nebraska-based investment conglomerate Berkshire Hathaway. The property owners, suing on behalf of a class of thousands of others, alleged that PacifiCorp negligently failed to shut off power to its 600,000 customers during a windstorm, despite warnings from then-Gov. Kate Brown's chief of staff and top fire officials, and that its power lines were responsible for multiple blazes. There has been no official cause determined for the Labor Day fires, which killed 9 people, burned more than 1,875 square miles, 4,856 square kilometers, in Oregon, and destroyed upward of 5,000 homes and structures. The blazes together were one of the worst natural disasters in Oregon history. In a written statement, lawyers for the plaintiffs called the decision historic and said it paves the way for potentially billions of dollars in further damages for the class members. PacifiCorp immediately said it would appeal. Escalating climate change, challenging state and federal forest management, and population growth in the wildland-urban interface are substantial factors contributing to growing wildfire risk, PacifiCorp said in an emailed statement after the verdict. These systemic issues affect all Oregonians and are larger than any single utility.
And there's more to read on that if you want to read the rest of it. Let me go to my next one here. All the links will be in my description box like always. This is from the Cool Down. Surprising graph shows the unexpected way many Americans are heating their homes.
Mike Munsell, director of growth at Canary Media Incorporated, shared a chart on LinkedIn that visualizes the increase in Americans opting to buy heat pumps rather than gas furnaces. Last year, Americans actually bought more heat pumps. The number of heat pumps purchased last year was a record high, with more than 4 million purchased. This is awesome news for many reasons. Heat pumps run on electricity, unlike their less environmentally friendly counterparts, gas furnaces, which run on dirty energy. Heat pumps are also substantially more efficient than gas furnaces, up to 3 times more efficient, in fact. Another advantage to heat pumps is their seasonal versatility. They can double as air conditioners when you have warmer weather. The boom in heat pump sales and usage can be attributed to their falling costs and technological improvements. While they have been most common in the southeastern United States, they're becoming more and more prevalent across the country as these factors are seen by consumers. We can expect to see heat pump sales continue to boom as the Inflation Reduction Act incentivizes consumers to use them. The act provides tax credits for certain heat pump models and even offers rebates of up to $8,000 for lower-income homeowners. I think we can expect that the heat pump curve will take off even further, and I'm looking forward to the peak in gas furnace sales where we see that line start to drop, said Noah Goldman, a policy analyst at Rewiring America in an interview with Canary Media. Are you excited about this uptick in heat pump use and subsequent decrease in gas furnace use? So is Carbon Free Homes, who commented on Munsel's post, posting this chart on the office wall. We plan on drawing that green line through the roof.
And that's all it is. Just one more thing there. If you're eager to purchase your own heat pump and turn your gas furnace off, check out this link. It's a little advertisement. Anyway, I was going to get one in my house back in the 90s. Never did. I heard, good things about them. You can level out the temperature in your house, make it more steady lying comfort. Anyway, let me go to my last one here. This is from Martha Stewart Living. I hate her. But it has something about sunflowers. Last year, I grew quite a few sunflowers. This year, I only got 3 out of 2 package. I think I'm gonna try a different way next time. Let's say here how to plant and grow and care for sunflowers and harvest their seeds.
Plant these show-stopping annuals all summer long to enjoy wave after wave of cheerful color and snacks. Sunflowers grow large, tall, and cheerful flower heads that brighten and animate your yard, and though you most commonly see these aptly named beauties in sunny yellow, the annuals can be red or orange, too. There are so many good reasons to grow them, beyond the fact that they make you happy. They're easy to cultivate, attract beneficial pollinators like butterflies and native bees, and draw beautiful songbirds. Many species love these blooms. You also don't need a sprawling field to make them grow. Sunflowers can be grown directly in the ground or started in pots and kept as container plants, which is a great way to extend their season in cooler climates, says Stephen McFarlane, Regional Landscaping Manager of Sandals Resorts. Here, learn how to plant, grow, and care for these summertime showstoppers, and harvest their seeds at the end of their life cycle. How to plant sunflowers. Sunflowers are one of the easiest annual flowers to start from seeds. You can germinate them indoors in pots or directly in the garden, says Elle Meager, a permaculture teacher and the founder and CEO of Outdoor Happens. I prefer direct sowing them outdoors. However, germinating the seeds indoors has advantages if you have a short growing season. Planting sunflower seeds outdoors. Sow sunflower seeds directly in your outdoor garden when the risk of overnight frost passes in late spring, says Meager. Keep the variety you're growing in mind when determining spacing. Plant regularly sized sunflowers anywhere from 8 to 12 inches apart, but jumbo-sized sunflowers need between 16 to 20 inches of space to thrive. Some cultivars grow shockingly large. Choose a planting site in your garden with fertile soil and ample daily sunlight. The spot should receive at least 6 to 8 hours of light per day. Sow sunflower seeds 1 to 2 inches deep in the soil. Water the seeds with a warm splash of water daily until you see sprouts, which should take about 7 days. Don't limit your garden to one flush of blooms. You can continually plant new sunflower seeds every few weeks through spring and summer to keep your flower beds teeming with life, says Meager. Germinating sunflower seeds indoors. Want a head start? You can also germinate sunflower seeds indoors. Sow your seeds indoors a few weeks before your last expected overnight frost, says Meager. Fill biodegradable peat pots. You'll need several. With an organic growing medium, sunflowers are not picky, so any decent potting mix will work. Sow your sunflower seeds, 1 seed per pot, approximately 1.5 inches deep. Place the growing pots in a warm part of your home, like a windowsill. Keep the soil moist and water daily until seeds germinate, roughly 7 days. Once the sunflowers are a few inches tall and grow their first set of leaves, transplant the entire peat pot into the garden when risk of overnight frost has passed. Related, how to start a flower garden. How to care for sunflowers. Sunflowers are one of the easiest crops to grow in your garden. They also grow surprisingly fast. You won't need to wait long for significant growth and colorful blooms, says Meager. Sunlight. Sunflowers, of course, thrive in full sunlight. The more direct sunlight you can offer them, the better. You'll also notice that sunflowers exhibit a remarkable heliotropic response. The flower heads follow the sun throughout the day. Soil. You can grow sunflowers in most soil types, from clay and loam to sand mixes. amend dirt with backyard compost or fresh, crumbly organic matter for the best results. The main thing sunflowers won't tolerate is cold, hard, and compact soil. Related, 10 plants that can thrive in and even improve compacted water. Sunflowers appreciate a few inches of water weekly and offer the best seed harvest when hydrated regularly. However, the flower is remarkably drought resistant and can survive with much less water, says Meager. Related. How to harvest sunflower seeds. Sunflowers reach full maturity in around 3 months, after which they're ready to harvest. You'll notice their colors start to brown, the seeds grow heavy and thick and feel loose. The flower head will also point towards the ground and the plant begins to wane and die. At this point, cut off the flower heads, roughly 1 foot below the petals, and hang them in a cool, dry area for a week. To remove the seeds from the flower head, simply rub them. After drying for a week, they should pop right out. Work over a bucket to collect the cured seeds, which are perfect for snacking or baking.
Okay, yeah, last year I had plenty of sunflowers, and I just left them for the birds to eat, you know. That's the main reason I grow them. But this year, I only got 3 out of 2 package. That's sad. And I got 2 different kinds out there, and I'm going to take the head off of one of each kind, and I'm going to save the seeds. And then this time, I'm going to grow them in peat pots inside the house, start them there, and then plant them in the ground from there. I think I'll have a better result that way. Manna sunflowers is one of them I had, and I forgot what the other one was now. Anyway, that's all I got for the news today. I hope I got something for you to enjoy. And don't forget, I am Alan for today's news. I will be bringing you world news, interesting news, news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. And thanks for watching.